My name is Dai Vaughan, and I'm half of the partnership which has produced this panel, the other half being my wife, Jenny. We were commissioned to do this panel by somebody who contacted us through our website. They wanted initially the duplicates of the panels which are in the Willow Tea Room. We pointed out to him that they're very, very heavy. They're about 60 kilos each by the time they're made. He said, have you got any other suggestions? I'm open to suggestions. And my wife, Jenny, said, okay, how about the Seven Princesses? And he absolutely loved it. And he said, right, let's go with them. It illustrated a story which comes from the play called The Seven Princesses. It was written by the Nobel Prize winner Maurice Maeterlink, and he happened to be the Mackintoshes' favourite author. Here we see Prince Marcellus holding in his arms Princess Ursula, who has been pining for love for him, but sadly, old Marcellus was a bit late, wasn't he? This is the moment when he realises that she's dead, and here are her sisters in a sort of semicircle around. There's 3 black swans which swim up the canal in front of Prince Marcellus's warship, which has great black sail, which is so wide as it comes directly towards the castle where the king and queen are standing there waiting for the arrival of Prince Marcellus. The tips of the sail touch the willows, brush the willows as it comes up the canal. Charles Rennie Mackintosh was going to do the one on the opposite wall, which was going to be the arrival of Prince Marcellus. This was commissioned by a guy called Fritz Warndorfer, originally, in I think 1902, and he commissioned Margaret to produce these panels, and he commissioned Charles Rennie Mackintosh himself to also produce 3 panels of the same size, we believe. When Fritz Warndorfer, who was a very influential man in Vienna, turn of the century, commissioned this piece, he was very wealthy and doing very well, and this was for his new house he was getting built. But sadly, however, that didn't last. The panels, the original Seven Princesses panels, got taken to the Museum of Arts and Crafts in Vienna. At the outset of the First World War, some very astute curator at the museum realized that these were by somebody British. He got them all taken down to the basement, put into a crate, and put against a wall in the basement. He then got a wall built in front of them, right, plastered and painted, so they didn't exist. He realized they were that precious. And there they remained. I think we'd done 8 or 9 panels under the auspices of Glasgow School of Art, and everything was going fine until we went to Vienna and saw the originals, which were now on display. We suddenly realized about the luminosity of the colouring, and the paint was so fresh, because what happened with most of Margaret Macdonald's work was it was hung above fireplaces. Most of it has got this sort of sepia tinge, which is what we'd been looking at and following. But when we saw the fresh luminosity of these colours, which had been kept absolutely cleanly and freshly in their containers, it was we were just blown away. So we said, right, okay, we really are going to have to do a bit of a rethink. We didn't work in exactly the same way as Margaret. We worked with what is known as egg tempera, which is just perfect for working with gesso. It really becomes one, it's soaked into it. And this is the ancient Egyptian technique. The reason why was because it has this great luminosity. And it doesn't yellow, it stays bright white. So they could work in layers of paint, like a watercolor, and build up the color. Finally, the sheen that you see is achieved by us burnishing the whole of it with an agate burnishing stone. We then cover the whole, all the panels, with wax. By heating the wax, that soaks in to the color, which then all together soaks into the gesso, and it becomes one. Then finally, you polish it. It was supposed to take about 3 months. It took exactly a year. Fortunately, the person who commissioned it was patient, as indeed was Fritz Warndorfer, because we don't even know whether he got the gesso panel from Mackintosh himself, and we certainly know that Margaret took a long time to produce these. I think she took 3 or 4 years. So she wasn't a fast worker.